All right, we're live now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you had a good Monday. Here to talk about the seven-game NBA slate. So we got 45 minutes to lock. As always, we'll go over what we know so far. There's a lot of injury news on the slate. There still is a big one we're waiting for with the availability of Anthony Davis. Kind of changes everything, but again, it sucks. That's a late game. We can look at some numbers. We can look at the over-unders and the spreads for the teams tonight, and then we can also look. Talk about players, their prices, kind of who I'm targeting, and then I can give you guys my core kind of cash game plays, and then we can go from there. So let's start with beginning of the day here. Daniel Tice gets ruled out, so that's pretty significant. I think Cantor is a really good center option on the slate. Now, he's not going to play the huge minutes ever, just because Brad Stevens never plays him the big minutes. Like he'll use other guys that can run small ball center, so don't expect Cantor to play like over 30 minutes. I think we probably get about 25 or so. And if that's the case, he just really stands out at his price. We have Drew Holiday unlikely to play, so I'll talk about all the Pelicans. There's a lot of Pelicans guys out. We have JJ Redick out. We have Brandon Ingram is doubtful as well. So that kind of changes everything. Originally, I was high on Lonzo. Originally, I was high on Brandon Ingram. With Brandon Ingram out, well, I don't know who the Pelicans are going to put on the floor. Like, I don't know who they're going to play at the 4. We have Favors could come back. I guess they could use like a bigger lineup and play Favors at the 4, like Jackson Hayes at the 5. If Favors is out too, I really don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. Like, are they going to start like Etuan Moore at the 4, Josh Hart at the 3? Like, I don't know. So there's a lot of Pelicans I like. I think that's where you get your value plays for sure today. And then again, possibly the Lakers guys, but we don't know that news yet. Marvin Bagley said he'll play. Looks like he's going to come off the bench, though. I don't really have interest there. There's price again. Yeah, Giles remaining in the starting lineup. We're still waiting on Brogdon. Sabonis news. Should get that somewhat soon. That's an early game. Some of the stuff is for Tuesday. Let's see. Yeah, so again, Brandon Ingram unlikely to play. The Pelicans really shorthanded here. Okay. Oh, Favors ruled out, too. Okay, so here comes all the Pelicans news. Here comes my other news. Okay, let me scroll back a bit. Sabonis will start and Malcolm Brogdon will start. Okay, so that is definitely takes those other value like Pacers guys out of play. 76ers starting Simmons, Richardson, Harris, Scott, and Horford. Again, I do like those 76ers guys. No Joel Embiid. We have Ingram out, Drew Holiday out, Derek Favors out. So we should get the starting lineup somewhat soon or very soon for the Pelicans. I'm interested to see who they start because I just don't know what they're going to do. But okay, let's look at some numbers here. Okay, so we got the Pelicans and the Pistons right now, sitting at 222 with the Pistons favored by 4. We have the Bulls and the Celtics at 217. The Celtics are favored by 10. We have the Thunder and the Timberwolves sitting at 218. Minnesota favored by 2.5. We have the Hornets and the Blazers sitting at 215.5. Portland favored by 9.5 points. We have the Magic and the Kings sitting at 212. Sacramento favored by 2. And the late night hammer here is the Cavs Lakers sitting at 221. Lakers favored by 14. Again, Anthony Davis status up in the air, so that kind of changes everything for the slate. Hoping, probably not going to get it, but I really want this Pelican starting lineup before I start breaking things down. All right, I guess we'll just check back every few minutes in Fantasy Labs and see if we get that info. But let's start with the 76ers here. So, this match against the Pacers, not necessarily great. It's sitting at, where is it? Is that game not on here? I don't see it on here. That's kind of weird. Unless I'm losing it. No, I don't see it. Okay, so either way, I don't think it's going to be a super high total. No Joel Embiid. There's obviously a lot of usage around, right? And it's those big 4 guys I talk about with Simmons, Horford, Richardson, and Harris. I think I definitely like Simmons, Horford, and Harris more than I do Richardson, so I would probably rank Richardson 4th out of those 4. As far as the other 3 guys, it's really close. Al Horford gets the biggest, bump for fantasy-wise. Like his ceiling's a lot higher playing the center position. The Pacers, we know they run big, so there should be no issue with Horford for minutes unless he gets in foul trouble. I think, low to mid-30s, kind of like he's been getting, around 33, 34 minutes. So I do think he stands out as a pretty good option. I also don't mind Tobias Harris. He's a little bit more up and down, a little bit can be scoring dependent at times, but his upside is also there. And then Ben Simmons as well. Obviously has the most upside of the 3, but it's the most expensive. He gets those peripheral stats, which is always great to see, and his upside is obviously higher too with no Joel Embiid. So I do like Ben Simmons, I do like Horford, I do like Tobias Harris a good amount there in the mid-range. I think all three stand out as perfectly fine options. Don't mind Josh Richardson, but I think he's probably my fourth favorite there of those four guys. Everyone else, as far as these value guys, we don't have to do it. There's enough value right now with the Pelicans. There's possibly some value with the Lakers, right? So there's no point even considering those guys. So let's move on to the Pacers here. The Pacers, Turner or Sabonis back completely out of play. Brogdon, that takes McConnell and Aaron Holiday out of play. Brogdon, I'm a little bit worried about his minutes his first game back in a while, so I don't know if I want to go there. Sabonis, probably the one guy I do have some interest here at 8.6, I should say. He's missed, one or two games? Or one game, one or two? Yeah, he hasn't been out for a while. At this price point, he's just so safe. I think we probably get about 35 or so minutes from him, so I'm fine with Sabonis if you land on him. But everyone else is kind of out of play with both Sabonis and Brogdon coming back. Let me hop over to Fantasy Lab, see if we got anything updates for the Pelicans starting lineup. We have not. Okay. So I guess I'll just talk about the Pelicans now. This is the key to the slate for sure. I think you load up on the Pelicans. I think at least 2 to 3 for sure. You should try to get in every lineup. I don't see a reason why around that. So yeah, no Ingram, no Drew Holiday, obviously no Zion, no Favors, no JJ Redick. How many guys do they have active here? So Lonzo's 1, Josh Hart's 2, Hayes is 3, Etuan Moore's 4, NAW's 5, Okafor will get run 6, Frank Jackson 7, Melly 8. I think Josh Gray's active. I think Cheatham is active as well. We'll see. So that's possibly 10 at most. So there's just, I really think you load up in the Pelicans, starting with Lonzo Ball at 6.9K. With all those guys out, I see no reason to fade him. He's one of my favorite plays of the day here. He's just going to have to do so much offensively. So love Lonzo there. I really like Josh Hart too at 5.3. He's going to have to play big minutes. I don't think his minutes will, maybe they go up a little bit. I don't know. So he's going to have to play more. He's going to have to play more minutes. I don't know what they're gonna do for a lineup. Like, who are they going to start at the 4? Obviously, they're going to start Jackson Hayes at the 5. Do they run like a 2 big lineup with like Okafor and Jackson Hayes together, or do they run like Melly in there with them? I don't know, because other than that, they really don't have any wings. It's all like guards. So it could just be like a big and then 4 guards. So that's why I'm really curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. Still don't see it out yet. But yeah, you could really make an argument for any of these guys. I would not be opposed to any of them. Again, Josh Hart stands out. Jackson Hayes. The one concern with him is potential for foul trouble. And they do have Okafor they can use. They do have Melly. So I don't think his minutes are like locked in. But I think he's a perfectly fine center option there at 4.6. Love NAW here at 3.5K. One of my favorite plays. I know he kind of had an off game there against Boston, got in foul trouble. Doesn't worry me at all. At this price point, love him. Also love Frank Jackson at mid price. Played 33 minutes the last time out. I just don't know what they're going to do for a lineup, really. Like, they're going to have to run at least three guards, possibly 4 guards out there for a starting lineup. So, love Frank Jackson, love NAW's value plays. I don't mind Etuan Moore either. Josh Hart, Lonzo, Jackson Hayes. You could literally make an argument for any of them. I really think you probably play at least 2, most likely 3 in every lineup. I don't see myself getting around there. There's just, there's so much usage and minutes to go around. You can make an argument for Okafor too, who's the best offensive center they have. They could possibly start him. We have seen, I think, one game against Detroit that did start him. He probably matched up better than Jackson Hayes against Drummond. So if he picks up a start, you can obviously look to him as a value play. If they start Melly at the 4, I think he would have to play big minutes. So really, you can make an argument for any of these guys. Melly, Frank Jackson, Okafor, NAW, Etuan Moore, Hayes, Hart, Lonzo. Like, I would be fine if you guys play any of those guys. I just want to see what they're going to do with the starting lineup. So I really think it's load up on the Pelicans day. At least 2, probably 3 in every single lineup. But let's talk about Detroit now. On the Detroit side, we got Drummond at the top at 10.3. Obviously stands out as a good play. It's just tricky because center is so deep. There's a lot of good center plays. We have Whiteside in the slate against Charlotte. We have Enes Kanter with no Daniel Tice going up against Chicago's front court. We have possibly JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard if Anthony Davis miss. And then we also have guys like Jackson Hayes, Okafor, right, those value guys. So it makes it a bit tricky to get to Drummond for sure. I think I'm going to give the edge to Whiteside for a couple $1,000s less compared to Drummond, but I'm perfectly fine if you land on him as a spend up. Don't mind Derrick Rose at 6.7. I think he's more in play for GPPs. You got guys priced similarly to him that I just prefer. Guys like, Chris Paul, say. He's literally like almost, I think Chris Paul 6.8. Like, much prefer Chris Paul. I think he's a lot safer, but Derrick Rose more the GPP option. I'm okay with it if you land on him for GPPs. Everyone else, not for me. I've heard a lot of talk of Svi Mikhailuk at 3.2. Not for me. He has been getting the big minutes, sure. He's just a very, very low usage guy. He's got to knock down those corner threes. He has to. If he doesn't, he can get you 5 fancy points like he did there against Cleveland in 29 minutes. So I don't have interest in him. I think the better value plays are the Pelicans guys for sure. So I'm not going to Svi. If you feel strongly about it, that's okay. Not going to be the way I go. I don't think we have to do it. I think there's better value with the Pelicans. I think there's better value possibly with the Lakers. So, yeah, Svi is a guy I will be fading. I think he'll be somewhat popular, but I will not be going to him tonight. And that's kind of it for Detroit. So let's talk about Chicago and Boston. On the Chicago side, not a whole lot I'm interested in. A really tough spot. I mean, Levine, you can make an argument as a contrarian option for GPPs, but definitely not for cash games. Lauri Markkinen's been really bad, even with Wendell Carter Jr. out. I don't have interest there. Satoransky and Dunn are priced okay. I guess whoever starts between Thad Young and Gafford, I would have some interest in, but it makes it tricky on the slate with the way roster construction goes, kind of more a stars and scrubs build. So, Chicago as a team, not super excited about anyone there. Now, on the Boston side, I think the best play here for sure is Enes Kanter, 5.4. No Daniel Tice. Again, I don't think we can expect like 30-plus minutes from him because that's just not what we ever see from Brad Stevens. They can use guys like they could dust off Taco Fall, honestly, for a few minutes. They could use Grant Williams at the center. Like, they have other guys they can use. Poirier, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He could get some runs. So I don't think Kanter's going to be like playing 30-plus minutes, but I do think those minutes go up. I think probably mid-20s. And if that's the case, he does really stand out at this price. Obviously Kanter, probably my favorite play here on the Boston side. As far as the wings go, Hayward, Brown, Tatum, and Walker, or Hayward, Brown, and Tatum are okay options. I don't see myself getting there, though, on this slate. It just doesn't make sense roster construction-wise. Kemba's okay, too, but again, Chicago playing at a slower pace here. It's really kind of my main interest is Kanter, and that's it. I'm okay if you land on one of these other Boston guys, but probably not the way that I go for this slate. Let me check back on Fantasy Labs. Still no. Let me refresh it. God, I want that Pelicans starting lineup. Still no Pelicans starting lineup. Okay, let's talk about OKC, Minnesota. So OKC, I talked about in my video. A lot of guys, everyone kind of seemed to know at price. Chris Paul, Gallinari, Adams, SGA, and Schroeder. I think I all have a good amount of interest in. I think my favorite being CP3 for his price. Next, probably either SGA or Schroeder, and then Gallinari, Adams. I think Chris Paul at 6.6 really stands out as a good cash game option. Minnesota playing at a fast pace, one of the worst defensive teams. Chris Paul, we know he's going to get low 30s minutes in a close one, so I think he does stand out a good amount at this price. One of the top options for sure for cash games in my opinion. Again, I don't mind SGA or Schroeder. Any of those other four too are perfectly fine too. So I like a lot of OKC here. I think all those guys are underpriced. Probably my favorite being Chris Paul. I think he's going to be the most popular, but you could look to anyone else too. Gallinari, Adams, SGA, Schroeder, I think are all stand out as pretty good options. On the Minnesota side, did Cat already get ruled out? Yeah, he did. I'm not really surprised about that. These are all GPP dart throws. I literally cannot trust any of them. Just checking back to Fantasy Lab. Still nothing. Okay. Gorgie Jang will get more minutes, but only 17 and 19 in back-to-back games. Now, that was a blowout there against Houston, but they have Naz Reid. They have Noah Vonleh. Ryan Sanders in his rotations. You can't trust it. Wiggins, he got limited. Again, that game was a blowout. You could make an argument for him. I will not be doing it. Covington, Teague, Shabazz, I'm fine if you want to take a dart throw on all those guys. I cannot recommend these guys with confidence. I can't. The rotations are so wet. They're every single night it's something different. So, they'll run guys like Keita Bates-Diop out there for 20 or so minutes. They'll run a Koji out there for 25, 30 minutes. They'll run Culver out there for good minutes. Vonleh will get some run at the center position. He got 6 minutes. Naz Reid will get run, right? Keelan Martin. They just have so many guys they just dust off at the end of this bench that it literally does not make sense to me to target these guys for cash games. So absolutely no interest for me for cash games. I'm fine if you want to take a dart throw on one of these guys for GPPs, but that's it. Minnesota is a team I am off for sure tonight. Let's talk about Charlotte. So Charlotte is a team not super excited about a lot of these guys. It is a good matchup. Like Graham, I think is a little bit underpriced here at 7.3K. Played 36 minutes the last time out. Rozier, I think, got limited a bit, actually. Yeah, only got 28 minutes. Played really bad, 1 of 10. He is a little bit more up and down, but I'm okay with him as a contrarian GPP option. Bridges in Washington, never really for me. The minutes are too up and down. A guy like Dwayne Bacon did get 32 minutes kind of out of nowhere there. I think he's a fine value play, but I don't know if we can expect 32 minutes and for him shooting 10 of 15 again. So I feel like it is kind of chasing going here at 3.3K. Again, I'm okay with it, but I don't think he stands out as like a great play. A guy like Cody Zeller did get 30 minutes that last game against Phoenix. So that is good to see. I think he's a pretty decent GPP option at this price. Obviously, the minutes have been a bit up and down. Portland does run big, which is good. So maybe it gets extended again here. We'll see. But Cody Zeller is the more productive of the two centers, and he's priced under 4K. If he gets somewhat closer to 30 minutes again, I think he stands out as a really good option. So, but you just can't really trust the minutes of these secondary guys. So I think he's more in play just for GPPs. And that's kind of it for Charlotte. Let's talk about Portland. So Portland, one of my favorite plays of the day here is Whiteside, 8.2K. That's just way too cheap. I've been talking about bigs against Charlotte all year. Charlotte, one of the worst rebounding teams. Perfect match here for Whiteside. Charlotte has been playing at a slow pace. That doesn't really worry me for Whiteside. So I think he stands out as one of the best plays of the day here at this price. I think he's about $1,000 too cheap. So yeah, I really like Whiteside there at that price. I'm fine with Lillard, but I think he's priced accordingly. At 8.8, there's a lot of good guard options, so I don't really see myself getting there. More of a contrarian option. I think CJ stands out as a good cash game play as well. 6.1 seems about $1,000 too cheap, so I'm fine with him as well. Even I don't hate Melo at 5.4. He probably gets mid-30s minutes in a close game, so he seems a little bit underpriced there. Bazemore's pushing it. He's been really bad. I think I just prefer that Pelicans value play to Bazemore. But that kind of wraps it up. So really like Whiteside there at his price. Lillard is a little bit more of a contrarian option. CJ I think stands out as a good cash game play. Don't mind Melo either. Bazemore, that's kind of pushing it. So that's kind of it for Portland. Let's check back on Fantasy Labs. Anything? Nothing. Oh, here we go. So kind of what I expected. They're starting Melly at the 4. So Lonzo Ball, E'Twaun Moore, Josh Hart, Melly, and Hayes. So yeah, I have no issue with any of those 5 starters. With Melly starting at the 4, that's more minutes for Hayes and Okafor at the 5. I think Melly, 25, 30 minutes from him at min price. So literally, you can make an argument for any of those 5, and then I still like NAW and Frank Jackson off the bench, and even Okafor off the bench. So those 5 plus NAW, Jackson, and Okafor, I'm completely fine with any of those guys. I really think that's where you get your value today. So I like a lot of those Pelicans guys for sure. Let's talk about Orlando and Sacramento. So Orlando, Vucevic at 8.3K, I think makes for an interesting pivot off of a high-owned Whiteside. I think Whiteside's going to eat up a lot of the ownership, but Vucevic is in a really good spot here too. Sacramento without Rashawn Holmes, going to be matched up against Harry Giles or Marvin Bagley. Yeah, that's a recipe for good things for Vucevic. So I think he does stand out as one of the better center plays for sure. It's just tough because there's a lot of good center plays today. Everyone else, Aaron Gordon, I think he's going to be back for this one. He's going to be a game-time decision. If he misses, that's a slight boost to guys like Fournier and Fultz and Ross. Augustine might be back too. So it's really kind of Vucevic, and that's it. And I do like Vucevic a good amount there at his price. We talk about Sacramento. So with Bagley back, that definitely takes dead men out of play. Giles will probably still play 15 or so minutes. Bielitsa's usage or minutes should go down too with Bagley coming back. I don't think he plays like 40 or so minutes like he has been. Reza probably still get some decent run. I'm okay with him as a value play. Probably my favorite play though is De'Aaron Fox. I know it's not really the best spot, but 36 and 38 minutes in back-to-back games. It's really good to see him, playing those big minutes. So I think De'Aaron Fox is still very viable here at 7.4. Don't mind Buddy Hield at 6.3, but probably not the way that I go. And then everyone else that's kind of it. So it's kind of De'Aaron Fox for me, and that's really it. I'm okay with Bielitsa, but his minutes will go down. Bagley, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. I don't think I can go there 5.8. Giles should, again, still be limited to probably like 15 or so minutes. I'm okay with Ariza's value play, but it's really kind of De'Aaron Fox, and that's it for me. Let's see if we got any more news. I guess we're not going to get that Lakers news anytime soon, which is annoying. But let's talk about the final game here. So the Cavs, as of right now, I have no interest in anyone. One of the worst spots here, it's the Lakers. Kevin Love's price is okay, but I just don't see myself going there. I would have slightly more interest in these guys if Anthony Davis misses, but as of right now, absolutely no one here on Cleveland. I mean, you can make an argument for C.D. Osman at 4K as a value guy. He's been playing big minutes. He's a lower usage guy. I'm fine with that, but I will not be targeting anyone here in Cleveland in this slate. Now let's talk about the Lakers. So again, the big news here is the availability of Anthony Davis. This changes everything. If he plays, then that takes JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard out of play. That's a downgrade to LeBron James. But yeah, if he plays, I would still like LeBron and AD at their prices. Even in a potential for a blowout, I think they're a bit too cheap. If Anthony Davis misses, then it's LeBron James season at 9.5, revenge game spot. So I really think he stands out at that price. Also, Kuzma would become very viable at 5.9K. He's played 34 and 40 minutes in back-to-back games. He would have to do a lot more offensively, so I would like him a good amount. I would also really like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee if Anthony Davis is out. They should split the center minutes against a Cleveland team that runs big. So those two would really stand out as well. Don't mind Rondo, but with LeBron back, he'll be doing a lot more of the point guard duty. So I think Rondo is okay, but it would probably be LeBron and then Kuzma and the two centers that I'll try to get to. And it just sucks that this is the late game, so probably not going to get that news. Because, again, if Anthony Davis is out, I really like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Normally, my strategy has been this year when AD is out, you just play both those centers. So I like them both a lot, but we're probably not going to get that news until after lock, which sucks. And a lot of the appealing plays are in the early game, so it just makes this slate tricky, right? It's the whole slate is on the availability there of Anthony Davis. But let's see. Oh wait, updated lineup note. So they're moving Okafor in, kind of like I expected. Pelicans will start Ball, Moore, Hart, Melly, and Okafor. Like I said, literally you can make an argument for any of these guys on the Pelicans side. I think you probably play at least 2, probably 3 in your lineups. There's just so much to like here for the Pelicans. So that kind of wraps it up, though. As far as my core plays, it's a bit tricky because it's literally anyone on the Pelicans that I'll probably give you guys. And again, the availability of Anthony Davis changes things too. I really think my core is just you play 2 or 3 of those Pelicans guys, and then I guess plug them in with either Cantor, Whiteside, or LeBron. I think that's a solid core. So that's what I'll give you guys. Again, I don't think like one Pelicans guy stands out over the other, but I really think you want to load up here on the Pelicans. So that's kind of it here. So let's get to some questions. All right, let's see. Oh, Mixer with the super chat. Thank you. Thoughts on Muscala? Thanks for the help and free info. So Muscala he will get the backup center minutes with Nerlens Noel out at 3K. He's not a guy that's going to play the big minutes, but he'll probably get around 15 or so. That's just more of a dart throw, right? I guess there's a possibility the game could blow out, but just a dart throw there. I know that's your boy. But I think he's viable as just a strictly dart throw. DK, what do you think about Melly, Lonzo, Okafor for all the cap space? Again, I'm perfectly fine with that. I love all the Pelicans. I think you probably play at least 2 or 3. I'm taking Melly for 3K. Yeah, I mean it's really tough, or it's really hard to get away from these Pelicans guys. Okafor starting. Yeah, so he has the most upside there out of anyone there on the Pelicans centers at least. So I think Okafor does stand out. There's obviously foul trouble risk though. Going up against Drummond, SGA, Wiggins, or Devontae Graham. I will go Devontae Graham there. Hart or NAW and Cash. Well, Cash games is probably Hart because he's going to play the more minutes. But you really can't go wrong with anyone, in my opinion. Okafor starting. Who's the best spend up today? Again, kind of on whether or not Anthony Davis plays, but right now I'll say LeBron if Anthony Davis is out. I'm kidding, guys. It's ongoing troll. Sekou in a pace-up spot, don't have to do it. Is Hayes better off the bench? Probably not. Hunter Can with a $5 super chat. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thank you. With a little, what even is that? Mic drop? Ben Simmons or Sabonis? Muscala lock, let me pass off. Between Ben Simmons and Sabonis, I'll give the edge to Ben Simmons. It kills me to say because I love Sabonis. Top 3 Pelicans. Again, that's a tough one. I think you probably start it with Lonzo, and then you could really make an argument for anyone. I don't think one stands out more than the other. Like, I like Okafor a lot that he's starting. I think Melly will have to play big minutes. Hart and Moore will play big minutes. I like NAW and Jackson off the bench. So I can't really say like what my top 3 are because I don't think like one stands out more than the other. I'd probably start it with Lonzo and then just pick and choose there. It's really, really tough to say like which are like my favorite ones. Okafor or Hayes, I'm gonna give the edge to Okafor. I think he's the better offensive center. Now again, there's foul trouble risk. There's a lot of risk for sure, but I will give the slight edge to Okafor. First price too, like Okafor is mid price compared to Hayes at 4.6. CJ McCollum or SGA, I already have Whiteside. I'll go SGA then if you already have Whiteside. DK, I got Lonzo, Jackson, LeBron, Melly, Whiteside, Graham, Tobias, and Cantor. Yeah, very similar to mine. I don't know. It's tough because center is loaded now with the Pelicans guys, with Cantor, with Whiteside. It's definitely tricky. Let's see. Anyone like Chris Paul for 6.6? Yeah, I think Chris Paul stands as a really good cash game option. Thoughts on stack with Drummond and Rose from Detroit? Yeah, you can 100% do that too. If you want to do the full-on game stack with with a few of those Pelicans guys and running back with Drummond and Rose, no issue with that at all. I think that's a perfectly fine way to go for GPPs. CP3 is solid play. Yep. Dwight or Hayes. Again, that's dependent on Anthony Davis news. If Anthony Davis is out, I would prefer Dwight, but we're not going to get that before lock, most likely. Hart and Fournier or Moore and Horford. I'm not a big Fournier guy, so I'll go Moore and Horford. How do I play Drummond, Whiteside, Okafor, and Cantor in the same lineup? Right? I mean, I want to load up in center, too. That's why it's a tricky slate. Sabonis, Simmons, or Levine for tiers. I got to go Simmons there. Do you have a core? Yeah, so I would say play 2 to 3 of those Pelicans guys as your core. I don't really think like one stands out more than the other, but I just like a lot of the guys. I think the starting 5 plus Hayes is viable, NAW, and Frank Jackson. And then probably, I really like Cantor. I really like Whiteside. I really like LeBron. So that's a pretty solid core, I think so, for this slate. CP3 or Derrick Rose for GPP. If we're talking GPP, I guess Derrick Rose. I think CP3 is definitely the safer play. Am I crazy for fading all Pelicans? Yeah, I don't think I would fade all of them for sure. I think 2 is the minimum. I really do. They're just so shorthanded. So I definitely think it's 2. Paul or Ball. I got to give the edge to Lonzo with everyone out. I got to. I love Chris Paul too. I think those 2 guys really do stand out, but I got to give the edge there to Lonzo. Let's see. Thoughts on Philip who? Love SGA or Gallinari for tiers. For those 3, I'll go SGA. More Sabonis or Paul Horford. I got to go Paul Horford there. Favorite forward plays? LeBron, and then probably one of those Philadelphia guys, whether it be Simmons, Tobias, or Horford, and then Melly as a value guy too. Philip Nuts. God damn it. I thought that was going to be one of those ones for sure. Yeah, you got me. Ben Simmons, Lonzo, J. Rich, NAW, LeBron James, Moore, Horford, Kuzma, Whiteside. Perfectly fine with that. Might play 4 Pelicans in cash. That's viable. I really think it is. I like Sabonis matchup versus Mike Scott with no Embiid. Okay. I'm fine with Sabonis. He always stands out as a safe option. Rose or CP3 got a lot of Pelicans, so I want to run it back. If that's the case, yeah, you can run it back with Derrick Rose. I think I would play Chris Paul over him for cash, but if it's GPP lineup, that's fine with Derrick Rose. I got Ball, NAW Moore, Etuan Moore, Tobias, Whiteside, LBJ, Hart, Cantor for cash. Yeah, very, very similar to mine. Let's see. Who are your favorite Pelicans? Again, it's a tricky question. It really is. I think I probably started with Lonzo, and then from there, I really think you can make an argument for anyone. It all depends on roster selection. Like, I think the cash game plays are probably the starting guys, right? Because they're going to play the more minutes. So, I guess cash games. Yeah. Wow. Someone knocked on my door. I didn't know those. I guess Josh Hart at 5.3 stands out as a good cash game option. We know he's going to play the big minutes. And then, Okafor too, or Melly. Like, really, like I said, really you can make an argument for any of those starting five plus NAW, Frank Jackson, and Jackson Hayes. The dramatic pause on for fading the Pelicans had me rolling that fast. Schroeder or J. Rich? I'll go Schroeder there. What about Morris for Detroit? Not seeing enough minutes in my opinion, so I don't think we have to do that. Tobias or Horford? Good question. It's really close. I'll give the edge to Horford there. I think he's more the cash game play. What Boston guard do you like tonight? I'm not super high on any of them, but I'll go Kemba. Do you still like Horford with Sabonis in? I do. I think, he just gets a boost playing the center position. Osman or Melo for GPP? I got to go Melo there. What do you think about Vucevic or Whiteside? Yeah, so that's a good question. I really like both those guys. I think Whiteside's going to be a lot higher owned. If you want the pivot, you can for sure go Vucevic. But I got to give the edge there to Whiteside. Thoughts on Ariza? Okay value play, but don't know if I'm going to go there tonight. Melo or Bielitsa for GPP. With Bagley back, I think I got to go Melo there. Vucevic and Whiteside or Whiteside and Cantor. That's so hard. If you have enough value, then I do like Vucevic and Whiteside a lot. But I'm perfectly fine with Cantor too. So that's a really tricky question. I currently have Whiteside and Cantor in, but I love Vucevic too. Thoughts: Ball, Alexander Walker, Simmons, Melly, Cantor, Braun, Hart, Whiteside. Don't want to fade down NAW and get burned. Yep, completely fine with that. GPP line is Ball, NAW, LeBron, James, Melly, Drummond, Fox, CD, and Cantor. No issue with that either. Miles Bridges or Melo. I'll give the edge to Melo there. Cantor, Drummond, Whiteside. Which two lowest owned? Well, I think Drummond will be the lowest owned of those three. I think Cantor and Whiteside are going to be the chalk centers. So, yeah, Drummond's going to be the lowest owned of those three. Thoughts on Culver? GPP, dart throw. I can't trust any of the Minnesota guys really with the minutes. So, he's fine for a GPP play, but I can't recommend it for cash. Praying AD is out so I can play Kuzma and cash. I think he sits because they don't need him against Cleveland. Good point. I mean, they really don't need him against Cleveland. So, let's see. Trying to see if we got any other news. Pistons, Brown, Svi, Snell, Diembo, and Drummond. Let's see. Where do you rate NAW? I like him a lot. I'm a big NAW guy, though, because he's made me a lot of money. He is a guy that can be streaky at times, but we know he's going to shoot the ball a ton when he's out there if he stays out of foul trouble. So that's why I like NAW, just because I know he's going to be aggressive offensively. So he's one of my favorite Pelicans for sure. I think he's a little bit more risky because he's coming out the bench, but I just love that he's always aggressive when he's out in the court shooting the ball a ton. Can we play 4 Pelicans? Yep, I think we can. What about Rose over Lonzo? I'll have one of other 2 Pelicans instead, or is it too risky? I think you can do it. It's definitely a risk for sure. I think Lonzo stands out as one of the best plays, but you can do it for sure if you have other Pelicans. Maybe Lonzo just has kind of an off game. Alex, let's see. Ben Simmons should have a big game. Yeah, I like Ben Simmons a lot. DK, what's your core? Again, I think it's those Pelicans guys, probably 3 of those guys, and then Cantor, Whiteside, or LeBron. That's a pretty good core right there. That's 6 guys, right? So, Ball, NAW, LBJ, Horford, Whiteside, CP3, Melly, and Cantor. Yeah, almost identical to mine. Literally, basically identical to mine. Good info and content. Hey, appreciate that, man. Hart Simmons or Paul and Horford. Whew, that's tough. I'll go CP3 and Horford. 10.5K Drummond or 10K Whiteside. If we're talking about FanDuel, then that's a different story. I think I give the edge to Drummond there. If that, I'm guessing that's FanDuel, right? So I think I give the edge to Drummond there if that closely priced. Postmates at the door. Got to go GLL. Yeah, good luck, man. Thoughts on playing NAW and Frank on the same lineup? I don't have an issue with that. I saw, I was watching the Asamoah guys, and they, I think Josh was saying, or I forget who, but someone said they wouldn't play Frank Jackson and NAW together. I think I would. I think you can. I just think both probably get close to 30 minutes. They just don't have a whole lot of other options. So I think you can do it. Let's see. Any love for Exum? Not for me. There's just better value in my opinion. Ball, CJ, LeBron, Melly, Whiteside, SGA, Moore, Cantor. Yep. Kemba's okay. But I don't know. I don't see myself getting there on the slate. There's a lot of good guards, guard plays in my opinion. So he's fine, but probably not going to be the way that I go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm debating. It's tough. I'm debating like taking Cantor out and putting Okafor in, but I don't know if I want to do that. Cantor does have big upside. Now again, I kind of talked about Cantor. I don't think he's going to play the huge minutes. I think he probably gets around 25 or so, but he still really stands out. There's just there's so many good center plays, right? Cantor, Whiteside, Vucevic, even Drummond, Okafor. Let's see. Worried about Horford flopped last game against the Pacers. That's true, but I'm not super concerned about that. His upside is a lot higher. He did flop for sure. He flopped. Him and Tobias both flopped in that game against the Pacers without Joel Embiid. I'm not super worried about that though because of their prices. Like 6.7 and 6.8 are a little bit underpriced. Frank Jackson or Melly. I think probably the cash game play is Melly because he's in the starting lineup. But I still like the upside a lot of Frank Jackson. I mean, we saw what Frank Jackson just did last game, right? And that was with Ingram playing. Played 33 minutes, had 28 fancy points. So, yeah, he can score the ball a lot too. Fading Whiteside for Vucevic. Yeah, I mean, Whiteside's going to be a lot higher owned. I'm saying, it's like saying don't play DK Metcalf, not playing Frank Jackson, NAW. Sabonis night, I know you love Sabonis. I do love Sabonis. I think he's a good option. I think he's a good cash game option for sure. I think he gets 35 minutes. He never really seems to disappoint. He looks like he has a floor like 40 fancy points. So I'm perfectly fine with Sabonis if you get to him. I think Moore is sneaky underrated. Etuan Moore, yeah, I think he is going to be a pretty low owned option here for the Pelicans. Just because I think everyone's going to go to Lonzo and Josh Hart. I think those two are going to be probably the most popular. And then people are going to go down to like Okafor, NAW, and Frank Jackson. I think Etuan Moore does fly a little bit under the radar. But at this price of 4.5K, again, any of the Pelicans you can really make an argument for. So I'm perfectly fine going him. I do agree. I do think he's going to be lower owned compared to a lot of those other guys. Cantor takes a big hit being in the starting lineup. Fade for me. You can fade Cantor for sure. Like I don't think Cantor's a must play just because there's so many good center options. With Whiteside, Vucevic, you can make an argument for Drummond if you have the salary, and then Okafor at the bottom there. So yeah, you don't have to play Cantor. If you feel that is true, like his usage isn't going to be as high in the starting lineup for sure. I just think the minutes are big for me with him, getting probably 25. That's my best guess, maybe a little bit more. Sabonis or Levine, I got to go Sabonis there. Love Vucevic in this spot. My slide on Whiteside. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Vucevic is the direct pivot there off Whiteside if you don't want to play Whiteside. I legit want to fade Cantor because he's starting, although I would have preferred off the bench. Hey, like I said, you do not have to play Cantor, and I'm still debating about it. Like, I might take him out too. There's a lot of good center options. Like, I'm debating trying to get Vucevic and Whiteside in there and then go both spend up on center. I think that's going to be more contrarian. You don't have to play Cantor for sure. I do think he stands out as one of the better center plays, but you don't have to play him. CP3 and Tobias or Hart and Simmons and Cash. I think I got to go Hart and Simmons just because Tobias is a little bit up and down as far as cash games go. He can be a little scoring dependent at times, so I'll go Hart and Simmons there. Simmons is a guy that always gets those peripheral stats. Hart he has to do a lot more. LeBron, NAW, Simmons, Melly, Vucevic, Fee, Sabonis, and Cantor. I'm okay with it against Fee. I think it's going to be somewhat popular. I'm kind of off of him. I just prefer the Pelicans value plays, but I don't mind anything else there in that lineup. Let's see. LeBron, NAW, Simmons, Melly, Vuce. Oh yeah, I already talked about. I'd go first one, Aaron. Sekou okay tonight. I think I don't think we have to do it. We have Markieff Morris back too. What's his price at? He's at 4.9. Yeah, I don't think we have to go there tonight. Is LeBron or AD playing today? Well, LeBron is probable. I think he's going to be good to go. AD is the question mark. So again, that changes the entire complexity of the slate, and why I think guys like Kuzma, JaVale McGee, and Dwight Howard are going to go super low owned. But you could make a lineup and bank on AD being out, and then those three guys really stand out to me. Um, let's see. Barnes, Young, Dunn, or Washington. Um, is do we have the Bulls starting lineup? Did they announce Thad Young starting? Let's see. I don't see that Bulls starting lineup yet. Is that? Oh, that is a 6:30 game. Yeah, I'm not super excited about any of those guys, to be honest. I guess Thad Young if he starts. If not, Chris Dunn. Cash, I have Ball, SGA, Harris, Horford, Vooch, Melly, Paul, and Cantor. Pretty similar to mine as well. All in a Cantor. He's a savage on the boards. Board man gets paid. Yeah, I mean, he's great. I mean, like I said, he had almost a 20-20 game at 23 minutes, which is insane. CP3 or Rose, good question. I've been asked that a couple times. I think it's CP3 for cash games, Rose for GPPs. Cody Zeller, no Biyombo. Biyombo's in, right? If Biyombo's out, then yeah, Cody Zeller would become one of my favorite plays. But yeah, I don't see that. I do think Zeller still is viable there for GPPs because he got 30 minutes last game. Christian Wood, don't have to go there. Cantor's a great play. They don't have many bigs. Yeah, they're thin, but again, I don't see him playing the huge minutes. Like Brad Stevens will play like Grant Williams at the 5. He could play Taco Fall or the other guy that they have active. They have other guys they can use. Was JW because just wondering because Sekou is my cheapest guy. Thanks DK. Yeah, no problem, man. Ball, NAW, Gallo, Zeller, Whiteside, Fox, Mello, Vooch. You're welcome. Yeah, that's a good GPP line. I think Gallo goes super low owned. I think Zeller goes low owned, but the upside's there. I do like Fox too as a GPP play. So, do you think this is a studs and shuds night? I mean, yeah, kind of. Because there's just so much value there with the Pelicans guys, possibly with the Lakers too. Melly or Okafor? I think the upside is higher on Okafor. I agree, but there's a good chance he gets in foul trouble. We've seen it a bunch when he starts. He can't keep his hands to himself. But man, Okafor does have a lot of upside if he can stay out of foul trouble. I got Ball, Levine, Kuzma, Horford, Vucevic, Frank Jackson, and Cantor. Then need one of them. Good luck tonight. Thank you for everything. Of course, man. What do you think of Levine? I think he's more of just contrarian spend up, in my opinion. That tougher match against Boston, I don't see myself going there. Let's see. Melly or Jackson? Probably the cash game play is Melly because he's starting, but I really like the upside in Frank Jackson. So maybe Melly for cash and then Jackson for GPP. Cantor starting, so he is. Good luck, everyone. What about Carmelo? I think Carmelo's underpriced for sure. 5.4K. The Hornets don't play a lot of defense. They do play at a really slow pace, but they're not very good defensively. So I'm okay with Carmelo. I think Whiteside though is probably my favorite play on Portland, but I'm fine with Melo if you land on him. What do you think of Ariza tonight? I think he's an okay value play. He probably still gets around 30 minutes, but I think I just prefer the Pelicans' value to him. Sorry, Melly, Cantor, or Okafor Schroeder. Thanks for the tips. That's a close one, too. I think it's probably Melly and Cantor for cash games. They're playing cash games, whereas Okafor, Schroeder, GPPs, just because Okafor does get in foul trouble a lot. So, yeah, I'll go Melly, Cantor for cash and Okafor, Schroeder for GPPs. Zeller got more minutes because Biyombo busted his nose during the game. That is a good point. And I don't think he returned either. So, that is a good point. Final GPP line, Ball, NAW, LeBron James, Melly, Drummond, Fox, Jaylen Brown, Okafor. Perfectly fine with that. Good stream, DK. Thanks and good luck tonight. Yeah, good luck, man. Hopefully win some money. I got 4,000 left and need a small forward. What do you suggest? Well, that's going to be a tough one. Let's see. 4,000 small forward. Well, I'm not a big CD Osman guy, but I think CD Osman is your answer there at 4K. I know it's a really bad matchup, but I don't see myself getting like Holiday or Snell or KCP. Yeah, I think CD Osman has to be your answer there for 4K. How do you feel about Napier? Again, those Minnesota guys are strictly GPP dart throws just because the rotations are all over the place. I'm okay taking a shot. I just don't know how many minutes he's going to play. With Cat out, there is a lot of usage to go around, but again, Ryan Sanders runs the big rotations, 10, 11-man rotations at times. So yeah, thanks for the stream, DK. Let's get this money. Of course, man. Hopefully we win some big money tonight for sure. Nervous, kept James in my lineup. Not a lot of late swap. Yeah, I have LeBron in too. Even if Anthony Davis plays, like I still think LeBron's a good play at his price. I don't think they play the full 4 quarters, but he's just way too cheap in my opinion. He would really obviously stand out if LeBron's out. Thanks, DK. Yeah, of course, guys. Good luck tonight, gentlemen. Snell's also starting. Yeah, not super high on Tony Snell, though. He's a very low usage guy. But okay, I can go for some ownership here. I'm curious to see what it is on a lot of these Pelicans guys. So we'll talk about the $40 single entry tournament. I can go over ownership, and then I can get out of here. Okay, so let's talk about ownership here. So I went a little bit more contrarian here. So I played Lonzo, and then I played both NAW and Frank Jackson together. Those are the 3 Pelicans I played. Again, you could make an argument for Hart, Etuan Moore, Okafor, any of those guys. I went a little bit more risky here, playing both NAW and Jackson together with Lonzo. I just think the minutes are going to have to be, 25 at least for Frank Jackson and NAW. And then I played both Tobias Harris and Al Horford together. They're both pretty low owned here. 8% Al Horford, Tobias Harris 15%. I was debating whether or not I wanted to go Chris Paul in my guard spot, swap him for Frank Jackson, and then put Melli in for Tobias. I was close doing that, but I was like, you know what? I think these Philly guys are going to go a bit lower owned. So I stuck with both Tobias and Horford. We'll see how it goes. Again, I went a little bit more risky. Frank Jackson, 7%. I really like that ownership. NAW, 38%. Lonzo, 59%. Again, Tobias, low owned, 15. Horford at 8%. I like that ownership. But let me go through some other people's lineups here and see what we're looking like. I assume Josh Hart's going to eat up a lot of ownership. I assume Ben Simmons is going to be pretty popular. Ben Simmons, 20%. Derrick Rose, 15%. Sabonis at 5%. Melli at 34%. Really, I expect to see a lot of these Pelicans guys. Let's see. Josh Hart, 21%. Etuan Moore, 43%. That's a little bit high. I thought he would go actually lower owned. So that does surprise me a little bit that he's that high owned. Let's see. What else we got? Just a lot of these Pelicans guys. I see like at least 2 or 3 Pelicans in almost every lineup, which is, kind of what I expected. Let's see. I'm curious to see what Okafor's ownership is. I didn't get to him, but I do like his upside. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. Drummond's ownership, 22%. Again, I was okay with him too. There's so many good center plays. Okafor at 22% too. Yeah, so it literally just seems like a lot of the guys are on the same place as me. A lot of those Pelicans guys are high owned. I kind of like the ownership for the Philly guys. We'll see. I guess I'm kind of living and dying by Tobias and Horford tonight. We'll see how that goes. Hart not too high owned in cash. Yeah, I expected him to be higher owned than Etuan Moore. That was a little bit surprising that Moore was higher owned, at least in that $40 tournament. My cash double up, Lonzo 57%, Melli 33%. I went Melli, Jackson, and NAW. Tobias 15%, NAW and Moore super chalk. I went Jackson. Again, you could really make an argument for any of those Pelicans guys in my opinion. Okafor 25%. Yep, Okafor 22.73. But I had no issue with any of the starting 5 plus NAW and Frank Jackson there. But okay, I think I'm going to hop out of here, guys. So thanks again for having to come and check out the live stream. I think we reached almost 200 viewers. So yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a good night. I hope we win some cash. If you don't follow me on Twitter, that is important to do so. I'll give my thoughts as we get news throughout the rest of the night. Really, we're only waiting on Anthony Davis news. But again, if Anthony Davis misses, it's LeBron, it's Kuzma, and it's those 2 centers I would try to get to. But yeah, thanks again for everyone coming to check out the live stream, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.